Time for more money with Matt Moore and Jay Money. So this was Draymond's third ejection, tied for his most in a season, and it's only December. So what do the Warriors and or NBA do about Draymond, who is hurting his team and the league?
Recording in progress.
Jay?
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing this happen with Draymond, in my opinion, man. I think they maybe not suspend him for the rest of the season, but he's probably going to get like a 15 game suspension in this particular game, man. So this is like the 10th time we've seen him doing something dirty. It's like this guy is out here playing football or something on the basketball court, man. So probably one of the dirtiest players like since the 90s when we had like the Pistons and stuff. But they got to get this guy out of here. Suspend him for 15, 20 games. Take his money. Don't have him getting paid for the games as well, and then maybe he'll learn his lesson finally.
Well, we know he was suspended for 5 games after the last incident involving Rudy Gobert back on November 14th. Matt, what do you expect to see this time?
I think it's tough to determine exactly what's going to happen here because, look, the NBA set a policy of repeat offenders having a little bit more of an extreme reaction from the league, right? Like, he's already set that precedent as far as being somebody that's constantly in trouble with the league. So it's possible that they go a little bit more difficult on him, that this does reach double digits. But ultimately, I don't know that the contact is going to warrant all that much given the circumstances of it. There will be a fight from the NBPA if they go too far on the punishment. For me, the bigger question is about the Warriors. The Warriors locked him into a 4-year, $100 million deal in the offseason. That's going to make moving him very difficult. He's averaging career lows in rebounds, points, and assists. He's shooting well from 3, but that's it. He's under 50% shooting from 2. It's bad. Like, the Warriors are struggling. If they want to make a major move, Draymond's a guy, maybe you say, like, look, we got to cut bait. He's not worth it anymore. His contract's going to make that really difficult. But usually with Draymond, you're able to say, okay, yeah, for all of the pain and all of the annoyances and all of the trouble, they still win when he's on the court. It's not happening this year.
Right.
When Draymond Green's on the court with Steph Curry, they're getting outscored by 5.4 points per 100 possessions. Yikes. That's the first time in that partnership they've ever been a negative together. Ever. And minus 5.4 may not sound like a lot. That's horrible. We're talking about being the average of the Charlotte Hornets when they're on the court together. It's bad. On top of that, Klay Thompson's just as rough. And there's a lot of belief around the league that Klay Thompson may not be a Warrior by the time that the trade deadline rolls through.
By the way, Steph Curry should be mad at Draymond Green at this point. I mean, Steph is balling out. He's continuing to play at a super high level. Not just Draymond, the rest of his teammates are falling off a little bit too, but Draymond has a choice, and he chooses violence, to quote Jay Money the last time you were on the show talking about Draymond Green. And then as far as like what the Warriors can do, Steve Kerr kind of indicated last night there's not much. It's just, hey, we talked to him, we accept whatever suspension the league hands down, but they already made up their minds and they already shelled out the money to keep him. Man, it never ceases to provide some interesting content though. So I guess thanks for that, Draymond. Let's stay in the West and talk about tonight. We thought it was odd. The Lakers were only favored by 2 earlier today. Figured, okay, maybe LeBron and or AD would not play. Sure enough, they are questionable for tonight against the Spurs. So we're going to play a little guess the line, all right? If LeBron and AD sit versus if they play, Matt, what do you think this line would be?
All right. I think it goes to Lakers -7. I do think that this line leans a little bit more heavily towards the idea that they're not going to play on the back-to-back. And if they do play, I do think they're worth combined about 5 points to the spread because there's not just an individual impact here, it's cumulative. So like the impact of LeBron and AD is obviously going to be more than it is for just AD, but it's also going to be substantially more because LeBron makes AD better. If they don't play, I actually think this goes to a pick 'em. Now, you're going to hear in a second about the Spurs being favorites. How are the San Antonio Spurs going to be favorited against any team in the association that isn't the Detroit Pistons? I will ask you in advance of Jay Money's response. I'll say pick 'em if they're both out, and Lakers -7 if they play.
I feel like Matt is specifically targeting you here and asking, do you think the Spurs would be favored and why?
Yeah, well, I do think that if they are in, then it'll go back up to 6. That was the opening number before it started to get smashed down. But in all honesty, I don't see it happening here. I think that the Spurs will close as the favorite here. Obviously, I mean some of the money might be with that as well because there's the money's going to come on them. But this is a back to back. They're coming off that championship tour as well, the in season championship. I think these guys are still a little fat and happy. They're obviously road back to back as well. We know that AD is actually injured. He injured his groin in the championship game, and he re-injured it last night as well versus the Mavericks. So I really don't see either. I don't really don't see both of them playing, but I do think if both of them out, we will see a Spurs -1 or -2 pop up in the market.
Yes. Meanwhile, LeBron has some sort of contusion, which is like a bruise, right? But in all seriousness, they're banged up. But Jay, you already had a pick locked and loaded, regardless of any of this injury news. So what's your play?
Yeah, I'm a spot better. I'm a situational better. This is a spot for the Spurs. They did just lose a franchise record 17 straight games in this one. I mean, you could tell by the line that this might be a spot for them to get off the schneid, if you like to say it. But I'm rocking with the Spurs here in the first half plus a half, and I'll take them in the full game as well plus a 2. Whatever number you like. I don't really care who plays. This is a Spurs spot for me. But this team has been really great in the first half, no matter who they've been playing, even on the 17-game losing streak as well. They're the 4th best in the NBA, 8-3 against the spread in the first half at the house. I think they make it 9-3 against the spread tonight. Obviously, road back to back for the Lakers coming off the championship celebration in Vegas, which I may have seen them celebrating a little bit, but I think the Spurs end the losing streak tonight at the house is a perfect spot. Wemby on national TV game, NBA TV. I think they get a little help as well with one of the big name guys for the Lakers out. So give me the Spurs in the first half and the full game, a little double dip in this game.
Aha. Okay. Riding with the Spurs. Matt, did you have any rebuttal to that before we move on?
I like the first half play. The Lakers are notoriously bad in the first half. They've been better as of late in the first half, but overall they're a bad first half team. Yeah. So I don't really mind that. I just can't get to getting them on a full game, man. This roster is terrible. They are not good at anything. I've got an article up on Action that's literally titled "Why the Spurs Suck So Bad." Like this is a truly awful team. And right. If this was a big number, I would be behind it. But we're talking about like a short home dog, or in Jay's mind, if they're out, a favorite for a truly awful team. I can't get there even if the stars are out.
I could understand having some hesitation until we know more, but at the same time, if you do want to bet it, you got to be waiting for that news to drop and pretty much get it immediately if you can. Elsewhere on the slate, Matt, what game are you looking to bet?
Yeah, I like the Nets tonight plus 2.5. We're doing NBA bet stream on this one with Action Network. We're going to be on the NBA app. Just go to the Nets Suns broadcast feed and just click on the feeds, and you'll be able to find the NBA bet stream. It's always a good time with us live betting throughout the contest. I'm going back to the well on the Nets after they flopped for me on Monday's show versus the Kings. Yeah, they're on a West Coast road trip, and that's tough, but the Suns are on a back-to-back here after a big win last night versus the Warriors. That's a letdown spot. We don't know about KD's availability. We'll see whether or not he plays, but even if he does, you'll probably be able to get a better number. So you might wait to see if KD decides to play in this one. We'll see who else plays. If Booker or Beal go back-to-back in this one, I'm kind of doubting it. The Nets have about 1 billion advantages here. They make more threes than the Suns. They turn the ball over less. They're a better offensive rebounding team. Now, all these deals don't make the Nets a better team overall, but it does put them in a pretty good position against the spread. And this is a small number, but I still like grabbing it. I like the Nets plus 2.5 on a letdown spot versus the Suns.
And it doesn't hurt. You have Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson playing against their former team. I don't know if those guys are mean enough to call this a revenge game. But still, you would expect they'd be fairly comfortable walking into that arena. Now, for one more NBA pick, we're going to turn to Sean Little on our podcast, Buckets, which is oftentimes hosted by Matt Moore. Matt, Jay, thank you.